The Churning of the Ocean of Milk, an epic of gods, demons, and immortality. Welcome back to TessyTales, timeless stories told your way. Today, we step into one of the grandest epics of Indian mythology, a story painted not in mortal strokes, but in cosmic colors, the Churning of the Ocean of Milk, or Samudra Manthan. This tale is more than myth. It is a vision of the universe itself. Picture an ocean stretching beyond imagination, waves of white foam gleaming like stars. Picture gods and demons locked in uneasy alliance, using a mountain as their churning rod and a serpent as their rope. Picture treasures, poisons, and celestial beings rising from the depths, until at last, the nectar of immortality is born. It is a story of struggle, cooperation, rivalry, and the eternal search for immortality. A story that has shaped Indian thought for millennia. So let us begin. In the beginning, the gods, known as the Devas, were not as we imagine them today. They were not immortal. They could grow weary, they could be defeated, and their power could fade. At that time, their eternal rivals, the Asuras, or demons, were rising in strength. Battles between Devas and Asuras raged across the heavens. Though the gods fought valiantly, they found themselves weakened. Without immortality, their dominion over the cosmos was slipping away. It was then that they turned to Vishnu, the preserver of the universe. They begged him for guidance, and Vishnu, ever wise, revealed the secret. In the depths of the cosmic ocean, hidden beneath the waves of eternity, lay the Amrita, the nectar of immortality. Whoever possessed it would gain eternal life. But there was a catch. The nectar could not be seized by force. It could only be obtained by churning the ocean of milk itself. And this was no task the gods could do alone. They would need help, even from their enemies, the Asuras. Imagine the tension. The gods, radiant with celestial light, and the Asuras, fierce and shadowed, meeting not on the battlefield but in council. Each side distrusted the other, yet the prize was too great to ignore. The plan was laid. Together, they would churn the cosmic ocean. The nectar, when it emerged, would be shared. That was the promise. But promises are fragile when gods and demons are involved. Already, each side was plotting how to outwit the other. Still, for this moment, they agreed. Cooperation was the only way forward. To churn an ocean, one needs a rod and a rope, but what could possibly serve on such a cosmic scale? The gods and demons chose the Mandara Mountain as their churning rod. Towering into the heavens, its roots sunk deep into creation. It was the only thing mighty enough to stir the ocean of eternity. For the rope, they turned to Vasuki, the great serpent king. Vasuki's coils were strong enough to encircle the mountain, his body vast enough to serve both Devas and Asuras. Thus, the stage was set. The mountain in the ocean, the serpent wrapped around it. Gods on one side pulling the tail, demons on the other side pulling the head. The cosmic churning was about to begin. At first, disaster struck. When Mandara Mountain was placed into the ocean, it began to sink. Its immense weight dragged it downward, threatening to vanish into the abyss. Panic spread. Had the plan failed before it even began? But Vishnu intervened. Taking the form of a mighty tortoise, Kurma, his second avatar, he slipped beneath the waves. His broad shell supported the mountain's weight. On the back of the tortoise, Mandara rested firm, steady for the churning to commence. And so, the gods and demons began their labor. They pulled Vasuki back and forth, turning the mountain like the spindle of the universe itself. The waves of the ocean of milk surged and roared. Foam rose like clouds, stars trembled in the sky, and the ocean revealed its secrets. With every heave, with every turn, wonders began to emerge from the depths. First came the Kamadhenu, the wish-fulfilling cow, radiant with celestial light. She would provide milk and abundance wherever she went. Then the Kalpavriksha, the wish-fulfilling tree, whose blossoms never faded, whose fruit satisfied all desires. The Apsaras, divine maidens of beauty and grace, danced upon the waves. The Parijat, a heavenly flower, spread fragrance across the cosmos. From the depths also rose Airavata, the white elephant with 4 magnificent tusks, who would become the Mount of Indra, king of the gods. Then the Kaustuba gem, radiant with unearthly brilliance, which Vishnu claimed for himself. Even Chandra, the moon, rose from the ocean, pale and cool, settling upon Shiva's head. One by one, the treasures emerged, each more wondrous than the last. The churning was not only about immortality, it was the birth of cosmic abundance. But not all that rose from the ocean was blessing. Suddenly, the ocean heaved, and from its depths poured forth a deadly substance, hala hala, the poison of destruction. Its fumes darkened the skies, its touch scorched the earth, its breath could dissolve creation itself. Panic swept across the gods and demons. What use was nectar if the universe itself was destroyed? It was then that Shiva, the great god, stepped forward. Seeing no other way, he gathered the poison into his palms and drank it whole. The poison was so potent it would have burned even him. But his consort, Parvati, pressed her hand to his throat, stopping it from descending further. The poison remained lodged in Shiva's neck, turning it a deep blue. From that day, Shiva became known as Neelakantha, the blue-throated one. By his sacrifice, the world was saved, and the churning could continue. At last, after ages of struggle, the prize emerged. From the foaming waves rose Dhanvantari, the divine physician, bearing a golden pot filled with the Amrita, the nectar of immortality. The sight of it was dazzling. The liquid shimmered like molten silver, glowing with the essence of eternal life. Every eye turned toward it, but the fragile alliance now shattered. The Asuras lunged forward, seizing the pot. The gods cried out in despair. After all their labor, were they to lose immortality to their enemies? Once again Vishnu intervened, not with force but with cunning. He took the form of a celestial maiden, so beautiful that even the Asuras forgot themselves. This was Mohini, the enchantress. Her grace, her smile, her charm entranced the demons. The Asuras, smitten, handed the nectar to her, begging her to distribute it fairly. Mohini agreed, but when the time came, she gave the nectar only to the gods. The Asuras watched in fury as the Devas drank the Amrita, their forms glowing, their strength renewed, their immortality secured. Realizing the trick, they rose to attack. But it was too late. The gods were now immortal, and the balance of the cosmos had shifted forever. Yet the tale does not end here. Among the Asuras was one clever demon who suspected trickery. He disguised himself as a god and slipped into the line as Mohini served the nectar. But as the nectar touched his lips, the sun and the moon recognized him. They cried out to Vishnu. Without hesitation, Vishnu flung his discus, severing the demon's head from his body. But the nectar had already touched him. Though his body died, his head lived on, becoming Rahu, while his body became Ketu. To this day, Rahu and Ketu chase the sun and the moon across the sky, swallowing them whenever they can. This, the ancients said, is why eclipses occur. And so the churning ended. The gods regained their strength, the demons were defeated, and the treasures of the universe were born. Yet this story is more than just myth. The churning of the ocean of milk is a metaphor for the eternal struggle between forces of creation and destruction, good and evil, order and chaos. The gods and demons, though enemies, had to work together. The poison and nectar, the dangers and blessings, all emerged from the same ocean. The tale reminds us that creation itself requires both struggle and sacrifice, both light and shadow. It is a vision of the cosmos as a living, breathing process, where even gods must labor, where immortality is won not by power alone, but by wisdom, sacrifice, and cunning. If this tale of cosmic struggle and immortal nectar is inspiring you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to TessyTales. Every week, we dive into myths and legends that shape how we see the universe. Your support helps keep these timeless stories alive. The churning of the ocean of milk is not only a myth of the distant past, it is a mirror of our own lives. Each of us churns the ocean within us, struggling with doubts, wrestling with fears, striving for wisdom, and seeking our own nectar of immortality, whatever that may be. We must face poisons as well as treasures. We must learn, like Shiva, to transform what would destroy us. We must remember, like Vishnu, to be cunning when needed. And above all, we must keep pulling, keep churning, until we find what we seek. This is the power of myth. It teaches us not only about gods and demons, but about ourselves. Thank you for joining me on this cosmic journey through the churning of the ocean of milk. From tortoise avatars to poison-drinking gods, from treasures of heaven to nectar of immortality, this story is as vast as the universe itself. This is TessyTales, timeless stories told your way. Until next time, keep churning, keep seeking, and keep the old stories alive.